I know that you are one person who expresses himself in some artistic way. If I play music that you love today, will you be able to tell the Nigerians or Nigerians and the world how you feel tonight?
You got it.
And I'll play you a music.
Let's do it.
I'll play you a music.
All right now.
And we'll see.
Indeed, are the people of Osun State feeling it? That's the question we should ask. Especially, I wonder if the song was a message. I mean, the dance clearly is a message. But I do know that not all parties are in the mood of joyfulness this morning, Kayla. And we're going to be getting one reaction from other political parties who also participated in these elections. Mr. Shola Sani joins us now. He's a strategic media associate to Atiku Abubakar, who is the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us in our studios this morning.
Good morning.
We've seen how the results of the elections in Osun State have turned out, and people were hoping that the ADC will also be making a very good showing in the state, but clearly from the results that we have seen, there are questions as to what exactly could be wrong. The ADC polled a total number of 17,180 from the 1,010,684 votes available. Is this what we're looking to see in the general elections?
Well, thank you for having me, and good morning, Nigerians. The Osun State election is a peculiar case study. It would not be totally correct to make it as a yardstick of what we should expect in the 2027 general elections. For the obvious reasons that it is a state that has its own peculiar history. And if you look at the politics around how the governorship election came to be, you would see that there are certain factors that determined how the election went the way it did. One of such, for instance, is that Governor Ademola Adeleke has performed exceptionally well for the people of Osun State. He has been able to fulfill all his promises, and the people see in him a candidate who is different from what the state has seen, at least in the past few years before he came into the saddle. So a lot of those things coalesced to create the momentum that gave him his resounding victory yesterday.
So the ADC has no complaints about how the elections were conducted. We take it that you accept the results of the Osun State governorship elections.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I think that our candidate himself has congratulated Governor Adeleke. I think to that extent that answers your question.
All right, but you have said that this should not be accepted. Do you then think, because we also know that the National Secretary of the ADC was once a governor of Osun State, and people had hoped that as a result of that we should see a stronger showing for the ADC in the political party. If that is not the case, if you say that this result is as a result of the fact that Governor Adeleke delivered for his people in the 4 years that he had in the first 4 years, and this is why we're seeing these results, do you then think that perhaps this then could be a liability for your party as you go into the 2027 elections?
No, certainly no. Like I said earlier, Osun election is peculiar, and every election is about who is on the ballot. Yeah, in 2027 general election, Governor Adeleke will not be on the ballot, and that will open up a lot of new possibilities in Osun and everywhere else.
What are you banking on? Because if you say, we know how elections work. Oftentimes we see that, people who have been on the saddle at the list, they usually would have they'll have strong areas, they will have strongholds. Some people have said, okay, at the minimum, we should be able to see at least 25%, even if the ADC wasn't going to be taking the cake. I mean, the last year, a lot of people thought that they're going to be, at least a third, maybe a third force or thereabout. And maybe at least a 25% would have been, expected of them.
Okay, elections usually is about the people. It's not about any political character and whatever weight they carry. It's about the people and the people's sense of judgment on who can deliver better on what affects their livelihoods the more. And like I said, in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke raised the bar and they got the credit for it.
From what we gathered on the ground, raising the bar included things like paying salaries. Raising the bar included things like, just doing what was needed on the ground. Very basic things. Yeah. So one of the things that characterized the administration, and there can be plenty of excuses for that, characterized the administration of former Governor Rauf Aregbesola was that salaries weren't paid. And at some point, they were paid in halves and what have you, in quarters, when they were eventually paid. Do you think that this could become a problem for your party in the 2027 elections? Because clearly, it did play out. That memory did play out in the elections that just concluded in Osun State.
I'm from Osun State, and I know the dynamics of what transpired under the tenure of former Governor Aregbesola, former Governor Oyetola, and the incumbent Governor Ademola Adeleke. Yes, you are right to some extent that the issue of half payment of salaries started under the administration of Governor Aregbesola. But, my dear sister, he did a lot of good work in that state. Yeah. Nobody will fault the fact that many modern public schools were built under his tenure. Many new road networks were constructed under his tenure. But that, of course, does not make an excuse for half payment of salary. But like you said, half payment of salary is just a fraction of what a governor needs to do. And in terms of the greater picture of development, Aregbesola, he paid this, he did this, he left a mark, and it's a credible mark.
What will be developments when things like salaries, what is due workers, wasn't paid?
Every administration has its own explanations for why he did what he's doing. I'm not privileged to be in Aregbesola's government, and I'm not here. I cannot sit here to defend what he did, why he did what he did. All I can tell you, as a citizen of the state and as a public analyst, is that in terms of development, in terms of performance, he did quite well.
I think that we should situate this. I like the fact that you've admitted that the payment of half salaries actually started with Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola when he was governor.
Yeah.
What we're trying to find out from you is if this may have played a role, if his reputation is, because Osun people they were singing it. It was in the songs. Oh, he didn't even pay salaries, and he's trying to give us a candidate to run for the elections. Now, does that play a role in the reputation of Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, who is a very big face for your party, the ADC, as we're going into the next election? Do you think that with the fact that this is his reputation in Osun, and the fact that the governor has said he's going to be supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will ADC be able to make any mark in Osun State come 2027?
Yes.
How?
I'll tell you why. You see, like I said, every election is situational. What happened on Saturday was because there is a Governor Ademola Adeleke on the ballot, and every candidate must carry his own burden and asset. The test of electability is earned, is not transferable. Governor Adeleke is not the same thing as President Bola Tinubu, who will be standing for election in January. And if you ask an average person on the street of Osun State today, if they would vote, because they did vote for Ademola Adeleke on Saturday, if they would vote the same way for Bola Tinubu in January, I can tell you freely that of the figure that voted for Governor Ademola Adeleke, I can tell you freely, more than 80% will tell you no.
But the governor said that he's going to deliver the state. He has a year at least to change the minds of these people that you say will not vote for.
Okay, so let me tell you something. Governor Adeleke is one individual. He's a politician, and he's a governor. As we speak, he has running battle with the presidency concerning the freezing of certain local government funds that should ought to have gone to the state for the past 2 years or so. So if he's telling the president that I will support you, give me my money, that is their business. But the point again that I want to raise is that as far as Osun is concerned, as far as politicians in Osun state are concerned, President Tinubu has failed the state. He attempted to freeze the state account through FCC during this election. For the past 2 years, local government funds to the state have not been paid. And even as you speak, the governor is a political heavyweight. In the general election, he belongs to a court party as you speak. In the general election that you are going into, a court party has candidates for senatorial election, House of Reps election, and all the likes. Will you tell those guys that they should crash their own ambition and support Tinubu?
Yes. That's what he says.
Okay, and so let's see how it goes out.
Because that statement that he made, and he said it over and over again. He said it at the acceptance speech, he said it in the interview with our colleague Shehu Kimbale. He has been saying it. I am going to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said it. We now saw a statement from Festus Keyamo that says agreement is agreement.
Yes.
Even though he says that there was no actual agreement. But he is saying, I am going to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I would like us to interrogate what Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo said. Agreement, because he came off as somebody who is speaking from a point of knowledge. Did Governor Ademola Adeleke and President Tinubu have an agreement? He
says they didn't.
Festus said they had an agreement. What that agreement is, I don't know. But if that agreement includes that politicians on the ballot for accord into the Senate and House of Reps election in Osun State, we have to sacrifice their ambition because of it. Bola Tinubu, I'm telling you that agreement is dead on arrival. Cannot fly.
So you think that the ADC will make a showing in Osun State?
Not just in Osun.
Despite the reputation of Rauf Aregbesola.
Not just in Osun.
Despite the fact that the governor is going to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you think
that is an empty promise.
Should the ADC be thinking that maybe they've lost Osun State? You have other states that
no way. I'm from Osun. No way. I mean, Kaila, no way. Osun is this country. I'm telling you, as far as the presidential election is concerned,
17,000.
Atiku, for your information, has not lost Osun. He didn't lose Osun in 2019. Didn't lose Osun in 2023. It's his country.
Okay.
And he will deliver it again in 2027.
You say politicians are eternal optimists. Let's talk about the process. Was there any objection that you had with how INEC conducted itself? Because the umpire is very vital. Do you think that there was a level playing field for all the parties to truly show their strength in these elections?
Well, I think that going by the time frame of when the election was conducted and when the final result was announced, I think by that margin we would say that INEC has probably upgraded from its past records. But a lot.
It has upgraded?
Improved, I can say, from his past.
I was going to ask you to elaborate on that. What did you see that made you say so?
Well, the upload of results into the higher portal was almost within good timing, and to the extent that we didn't have a case of inconclusive elections or a case of system shutdown glitches, I would say that is a pass mark on the part of INEC. But even at that, there was a lacuna, some 2 hours gap, that nothing was being fed onto the IREV, and at that point everybody was apprehensive about what is happening again. So that kind of, whatever caused that is what INEC should look into, so that you don't have a repeat of that in the next general election. results should be transmitted in real time. That is what Nigerians expect from INEC.
All right. Well, these elections were highly competitive. Did you notice any untoward behavior from security agents? Do you think that there was an over-deployment or an under-deployment of security agents?
Yeah, there was an over-deployment.
Over-deployment?
Yes. Osun was practically a war zone. I am from Osun, like I told you. I just came back, and it was too militarized. It was too policed. I can't even say militarized.
But did it not have any effect on the turnout, did it?
It did not significantly, because the people rose in good numbers to vote and to defend their vote. And we would see that this senator, this rascally senator who said people should be killed for whatever reasons, he repeated the same narrative at polling booths around his constituency, and right in front of police personnel who didn't stop him. And that in itself is an act of intimidation, and it must have had an impact on the outcome of the result of the election.
How do you mean? In his own polling booth or generally?
In his own polling booth, asking people to look at where people put their thumb printing, and anybody who is not voting for APC should be. I mean, what does that mean? So if you are coming to vote for Accord at that kind, or ADC at that kind of polling booth, and there's a standing instruction from your senator to his active political talks on the field at the ballot booth, giving instruction that people who do vote for APC should be dealt with, and police personnel are there, and they didn't stop that.
Mm-hmm.
That is high grade intimidation.
So essentially, your message is that no one should take the results from Osun State for the ADC as what is going to be for the national elections.
Absolutely
come
not.
2020.
Absolutely. There are two different concepts. Two different candidates. But Tinubu will not sure. I can tell you that for free.
All right, we'll see how that eventually pans out in the 2027 elections. Is not far away. As a matter of fact, we do know that campaigns are set to kick off on August the 19th, and we'll be seeing how that eventually goes. But we have to thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Mr. Shola Sani is the Strategic Media Associate to Atiku Abubakar, who is the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress. Thank you once more for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me. God bless.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be speaking with observers who were on the ground and are still, one of them is still very much on the ground in Osun State, and getting their own feel, their own interpretation of how the elections in Osun State went. In just a moment, please stay with us.